This is ATL Day Ones, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. And it starts now.
Welcome into ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and Tenitra. We want to just say thank you for making us your first listen of the day. And remember, we are free and available on all podcast. Ooh, what in the world is that word? Audio podcast platforms. Oh, this is not starting off well today. It is Monday. So yeah, make sure you guys, pray for me because, hey, we got off to a little rocky start, but we're going to keep this bad boy rolling. Yeah. Remember, whenever you download your podcast, make sure you leave us a 5-star review. We are there. We are appreciating you guys for leaving us those 5-star reviews. I know a lot of people are talking about how scared they are for me threatening them, but you guys have listened. That's all that matters. Don't forget about the scared part. You have listened, and we really appreciate you for that. We're up over 3,200 subscribers on YouTube. So if you have not subscribed, go ahead and do that for your folk. We really will appreciate that. T, the Atlanta Braves, they doggone kicked the crap out of the Astros. They kicked the crap out of the Mets. And we're going to talk about, the major takeaways from what happened over the weekend. And the Jets and the Falcons got into some joint practices. I'm hearing Super Bowl from Jets analysts. Hell no, ain't no way in the world. We'll talk about that. And last but not least, and for the culture, our guy, DeJounte Murray, is in the news again. And I absolutely love it. Now, but before we get to all that, we got to talk about the Braves. They lose yesterday. With a really great performance by Charlie Morton. He is looking stronger and stronger every day. I think this dude is – I don't know what Charlie Morton takes in the second half of the season, but he needs to keep doing that because he had a good outing. Unfortunately, he didn't get the win. Right. But I think that if you can have a good takeaway from that particular game, it's definitely that Charlie Morton still is looking really good right now.
Yeah, I would agree. And if we look at it for the whole homestand, like you said, going 5-2 on that homestand, where coming into it, Jarvis, we heard so many pundits talking about, the Braves went on, a streak in June, and then they followed that up with a late July, early August streak, but wasn't against good teams. It was everybody that was sub 500. Okay, what do you have to say now? Because they held their own, right? Right? And in the 2 games that they lost, they were still in it until the 9th inning. So that speaks volumes to what they were able to do as well in walking away, getting ready for hopefully a relatively easy series against the Pirates. And then, of course, a little bit of a challenge there again with the Cardinals. But I say that to say, to me, that was the good. The good was you came up against the Mets and you showed and proved that you were not going to do what you did 2 weeks ago. And then you didn't have a letdown. The emotion of what you did against the Mets, you didn't allow it to spill over and then have a hangover for the Astros or a letdown. Other thing that I thought was good was the pitching. I just, in addition to Charlie Morton, I really was so pleased to see Kyle Wright just kind of bounce back from, a little bit of a struggle there, and just kind of seeing the Braves, Spencer Strider, another one who had, just so very encouraging.
Just the confidence he has on the mound. I just get amazed at it. I'm amazed at how confident he is on the mound. It's just throwing 100-mile-per-hour gas. I'll probably have that same amount of confidence as well.
and you and I were two individuals who, from the gate, when Spencer Strider made his comments against the Mets, we were like, yeah, that's fine. You
no problem
have that dog in you, say what you say, and walk. He walked the talk. And the other thing is this, that we try, hey, look, we give the flowers when we're supposed to, and then we go in when we have to. But I want to also give those flowers to Brian Snitker for being very strategic heading into the series in terms of how to use his pitching staff to get himself ready for the Mets so that he could have Max Fried, for example, ready for the likes of Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom. And so I also think that he did a good job in managing his resources for not one, but 2 big series.
I said I've said this like right after that series over with against the Mets. I said that man he outmanaged Buck Showalter. For sure, I give that to him hands down. But we're gonna talk about some ugly and some bad from what happened over the weekend. But before we do that, tell the folks about some good they can get from going to BetOnline.net.
Yeah, so there is good because, of course, when you go 5-2 on a homestand, you also whittle away that Mets lead in the NL East. So if you guys are watching on a daily basis to see what the betting odds are for the Braves to win the NL East, then betonline.net is where you go because literally they've got all the sports info, all the betting information that you will need. Now, we talk about that in terms of what you might see with that NL East race. Also, sports developments. Jarvis and I are going to talk about it a little later. The Hawks tried to do some things, didn't kind of work out. But what does that potentially mean in terms of their odds going up and down? So, league reviews for MLB, for NBA, or the Falcons are just a couple of weeks away from the open of the regular season. What's that looking like based on what they've been showing in the preseason? All that information is right there at betonline.net, but also niche sports like MMA or golf, you'll find their information there as well. So, as always, stick around, hang out with us. But once you wrap up checking out ATL Day Ones, next step is to go to the website today, betonline.net. You could go on your phone, your laptop, any connected device. And of course, that's where we go to because we like to get the ins and outs for all of the teams that we cover and all of the teams that compete with the teams we cover. So again, that's betonline.net. That's where the game begins.
No doubt about it. T, I'm going to go ahead and crank this bad boy, start it off right. The bad for me was Marcell Ozuna actually being in the starting lineup at left field. Like where are the Falcons? I mean, not the Falcons. Where are the Braves right now? Like, they are at a space where they have to put him in. And I think what even got a little bit more bad is when they talked to Brian Snicker after the game, and he was talking about, he's like, yeah, he's still on the team, so, and I needed a left fielder, so that's what it is. I was like, whoa, why is this dude still on this team if we've been talking about like this in this manner? This is bad. This is bad. I think, the report of Ken Rosenthal talking about, they're going to let the legal process play out, and then more likely he's going to be released. And I think that is the perfect solution for this because this is bad right now because he is bad on the field, he's bad in the field, and he's bad off the field. So it's just a lot of bad going on right now and with this situation. I think that, at the end of the day, like, it's time to move on. And whatever the cost is, we'll let it be, T.
Yeah, and that's one of those things where you say, darn, I really kind of wish we would have offloaded him before this situation happened because, you could have. And although you would have taken a financial hit, ultimately speaking, it would have been well worth it because, he literally, and not the human being, I'm not being disrespectful to a human, but the player was worthless.
The player, yeah.
The player was absolutely worthless because the only place he could give you something, because like you said, liability in left field. So the only place he could give you something was at the plate. And oh my God, that was scant. And I'm being nice about it. So again, because it was 183, then it kind of bumped up to 214, then it was trending back to 183 for his, average. And so again, and then I thought about this too, and this is now going back into the man side of it.
Right.
Where was the humility when he did speak to media after the games? Where was the humility to just realize that, no, this isn't a situation that you found yourself in that, sometimes you've got to work through so that you can get better and it's a good thing. No, bro.
Not an injury. You know what I'm saying?
No, we're not talking about a Mike Soroka situation, which, by the way, he had another decent rehab start. But we're not talking about that situation where it was out of his control, where he had setback after setback. You made a decision on a game night somewhere outside of Sandy Springs to do what you did. That was a conscious decision that you made. So now it's like, okay, Braves, we understand this isn't the NBA, this isn't the NFL. There's probably not a conduct clause, if you will, where you can use that as an out to get him out of there. So yes, now, like you said, the Braves have to allow the legal process to run its course. But yeah, his days are most definitely numbered. And I think it was just one of those things where Brian Snicker was like, okay, I've got some injuries. I need to have some days off, kind of rotate people out and give them a breather. Dang. Well, he is still on the roster.
And he is look, exactly, and that's exactly how he probably looked when he was writing his name, and he was like, God, dang, boy, gotta put this motherfucker in. So I think that's definitely the bad situation. But I think the ugly it had to be him going to the plate, booing him going up to the plate, and booing him for after striking out. I'm just like, man, it can't get no worse than this. I think this is the bottom, right? Like, not only are you not doing what you're supposed to do off the field, you get on the field and continue to doing what you weren't doing before. You didn't do what you were supposed to do off the field. So it's just a situation that I think that Snicker is praying that Eddie Rosario's hamstring doesn't tighten up on him anymore. And Mr. Gross Man, or Nasty Man, how I used to refer to him as, is going to be ready to roll for the rest of the season, because this is something that they need to move, and it needs to move, T.
You're absolutely right. Once Eddie Rosario is ready to rock and roll and Robbie Grossman is good to go, I think that, and we know that, he could throw William Contreras out there if he needs to.
Yes.
But so he's got a little bit of backup, but you kind of had to make sure that when Contreras needed to call a game, he was available to call a game from the catcher's position. But once all of those chips just start to fall, and this legal process will probably land concurrently to it, then it's absolutely time to move on, because that was no question the ugly part of this.
No doubt about it. But what we hope is more of ugly is tonight when the Falcons take on the New York Jets. T. Woo! You got Jets analysts talking about the Jets look remarkably better than the Falcons and potentially could go on to be in the Super Bowl. Like, I can't wait for this game tonight. We'll talk about that next. What we're looking for. We're going to give you some objective, observations to look for tonight as the Falcons get ready to take on the Jets. Don't go anywhere. This is ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and T, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta.